When Logan is forced to choose between an old friend and a new one, who will ultimately end up on top? Well, let's hop to the pages of Wolverine issue number 18 and find out together, shall we? So then, picking up from where the last issue left off, CIA agent Jeff Bannister had managed to intercept a Krakoan listening device, which apparently has the poor guy and Wolverine's friend marked for death thanks to the CIA's newly established X-Desk. Wolverine comes to help his buddy out of a jam after all the different times Jeff has helped him, and not a moment too late either, as it's at that moment Maverick and his mercenaries show up. Wolverine is understandably pretty disappointed in his old comrade, especially after the lengths Logan had gone to rescue Maverick from the auction house that had taken control of his mind. These mercenaries also don't think twice about opening up on poor innocent children like Jeff's, who just survived cancer but won't be able to survive a bullet. What follows is a hell of a chase. Jeff manages to hijack a nearby meat truck while Wolverine and Maverick fight on the roof of it while it's inbound to a Krakoan portal. Wolverine knows if they can just punch it enough and make it through the portal, Sage can turn it off, meaning that Maverick and his goons can't come on through the other side. And you know what, I will admit, the image of a meat truck sitting there in idyllic Krakoa is pretty hilarious. Also, you'd think it would be a bigger deal Wolverine aiding and abetting a member of the American intelligence community, but it's really not. In fact, Jeff's daughter is openly accepted and allowed to go play with a bunch of the mutant children. They're probably just happy to see a new face at this point in Krakoan history. It's here too, the ultimate mutant mechanic Forge is actually able to give his insight on the bioorganic listening device. Apparently, he created it. But he can say for certain that he didn't set it. It's been hacked. Yeah, apparently Forge is one of those absent-minded genius inventors who spends so much time thinking up new things he doesn't think to add any security measures to it. This one device is already filled with hundreds of hours of sensitive mutant-related information, some of which was gathered at Blob's own tiki bar, meaning Maverick isn't just the guy who's been sent to retrieve the device, he was also the one that was planting it. Which again, Wolverine doesn't want to believe, even though all the proof in the world is beginning to show now that his former friend has turned on him and the rest of mutant kind. With not many options at their disposal, Jeff decides to have himself a very tense sit-down with the head of the X-Desk to try and get to the bottom of all of this. Wolverine himself, of course, waiting in the wings in case anything should go wrong. Jeff reads this lady the riot act, saying that she's gone too far, is drunk on her own sense of power, and what self-respecting agent would try and assassinate her own people, let alone an unarmed child who just so happened to get caught in the crossfire. It's here we realize some very important factors. One, yes, the X-Desk lady did indeed hire Maverick, and he is indeed the person who's been getting her these bioorganic listening devices. She didn't do any of the other stuff. Maverick, true to his name, went into business for himself, and like the true mercenary that he was, is getting paid by a third party with much deeper pockets. It's at that point a sniper bullet rings out, hitting the head of the X-Desk, which of course means that Wolverine has to finally get involved now. As it turns out, the shooter works for the Legacy auction house, those Texas creeps that were selling superhero memorabilia and were keeping Maverick brainwashed as their own personal super soldier. Yeah, that's right, Maverick went back to work with these guys of his own accord. Apparently a healthy paycheck is more than enough to make him forget all those years of torture and brainwashing. This was of course all part of Maverick's plan to get the listening device back out in the open so he could steal it back from Jeff and trade it to the auction house for a pretty penny. Jeff makes a big show of putting up a fight and saying how much Maverick disgusts him, but at the end of the day, he certainly wasn't going to win this battle. Now that's still not to say Wolverine and Jeff don't end up getting the last laugh in this situation. They figured one way or another they weren't going to be leaving with the listening device, so they had Forge wipe all the important information from it and instead replace it with a bunch of Johnny Cash songs. And while the auction house might be evil and greedy, they're not stupid. They don't hand over Maverick's money before trying to listen to the merchandise, and once they realize they've been had, they decide to pull all their weapons on Maverick, thinking he pulled a fast one on them. And it's on that note the comic comes to an end as Jeff and Wolverine celebrate a job well done. And so that was Wolverine issue number 18, everybody, and overall it was fine. A 2-issue spy story that didn't really set the world on fire. Honestly, this was a lot more about Jeff than it was Logan himself, which is fine. Jeff is a likable character. It just kind of feels like to me that a lot of shoes were supposed to drop then didn't. Like, aren't the other mutants gonna have a hard time with Wolverine bringing in this American intelligence agent and just letting him drink beers on the beach with him? I know Wolverine is given a lot of leeway, but still. Also, what was the point of the whole chemical attack side plot from the previous issue? I really thought that was gonna come back again, but it just kind of didn't. Also, did they just introduce the new head of the X-Desk only to kill her off in this issue? I sure hope she's okay. I wanted to learn more about her. The action, if nothing else, was solid. There's some good jokes and one-liners in here. Again, not an issue that I'm probably going to think a lot about when it's done, but one that did a fair enough job, which is why I give it a 7 out of 10. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.